Hi, it's Brent Sway from thirstgym.com. Today we're talking about an exercise called the reverse band overhead press or the reverse band military press. What we're going to basically use this exercise for is to overload the overhead press. It also makes it a little bit shoulder safer, so if you happen to be somebody that's dealing with some shoulder issues, you're still really dead set on overhead pressing, this definitely helps reduce the load on your shoulders, but still lets you get some weight in your hands at the top. And I also think it's a very smooth variation to overhead press. So if you happen to not have like an overhead press machine, if you're kind of looking for that smooth feel, this is about as close as you're going to get. You are going to need a barbell and a power rack, and you definitely are going to want a power rack so you have something to attach your bands to at the top. Now, I have the band set up exactly like I would as if I was going to bench press, but the opposite way, as I was upside down. So I've got my bands doubled up and then pulled down to the barbell. Now, I will say, as someone shorter like myself, this is a little bit of a pain to set up a little bit just because of the amount of band tension that I have on here to make sure that it's relatively smooth. Also, this rack, I probably actually should have set these up in the back so that I could be able to show it to you better. If I was actually going to do this, I would actually face the other way. But to be able to make it easy for content, I put it in the front of the rack. So that's another option. Just make sure that you're relatively close to where your bands are so the bands aren't throwing you around. But once you've got all that set up, you will want a little bit of weight just even to start so that the weight can stay down and that you can actually feel the smoothness and see how your band tension is. Once you have that set up though, your hands are going to go on the barbell about the inside portion of your bench press. So my bench press is here. I see where my ring finger is, or I'm sorry, my pointer finger. I bring my pinky finger about to that spot, and that's where my usual overhead press grip is. And then your thumb's going to be over or under the barbell. That's all personal preference. Once you're there, we're going to get underneath the bar. We're going to have the barbell stacked over our wrist and elbows here, so that when we go to press overhead, everything's good and stacked. While I love the front rack position, starting here makes it hard to get your hands back into position. If you're Olympic lifting, that's one thing, but here just for the standard overhead press, this position works great. Get underneath it, we're going to slowly walk the weight out, and then we're going to overhead press and then re-rack. Here. And then rack. So as you can see, had to fight it a little bit to get it back in the rack, but overall, very smooth. That felt very comfortable, and I actually thought that felt really good in terms of an overhead press smoothness similar to a machine. Now, why would you use this exercise? The number one reason would be to try to get some overload and, or like I said, to save your shoulders if you happen to have some cranky shoulders. When it comes to programming, I like the way this feels. I personally would use this more in hypertrophy ranges of like 6 to 10 for 3 to 4 sets. However, if you want to use this as a max effort rotation and you're a conjugate person and you do strongman or something like that, this would also work great to let you be able to handle some weights really heavy at the top, maybe that you're hoping to press at a competition for a strongman competition or something like that. Otherwise, there's just a good variation to mix up your overhead press, maybe help you break some PRs and break through some hurdles that you're having with the exercise, especially in terms of the lockout position. As you can tell, when you get overhead, you're going to have to work more on stability, so being able to handle heavier loads than you have in the past. Usually for a lot of people pressing overhead, that is one issue that they have, is they get it here and going, but then they kind of get stuck, or they're here and they're all over the place, and really it's just because you're not overhead with that kind of load very often, and this can let you bridge that gap. So this is the reverse band barbell overhead press, but if you happen to have any questions about this exercise, please feel free to leave them in the comment section. Thanks. Have a great day.